That was not supposed to go like that.
Good evening, Krakow stand-up comedy. You all look gorgeous tonight. And I say that because I can only see the first 3 rows. And I want to be nice to them because they are close enough to throw stuff at me. My name is Jason Henry Simon-Bierenbaum. That wasn't the joke, that's my name. And it's English. It is English for my parents wanted school to be hard for me. To tell you a little bit about me, I am a vegetarian American Jew. Vag, for short. It could be worse. I could be a drunk Icelandic child killer. And then I'd be a dick. And the world has enough of those two. Obviously, vages and drunk Icelandic people. But this is not my first time in Krakow. I was first in Krakow about 3.5 years ago. And, you know, I was there to visit here to visit my then girlfriend. And I was super excited. And we were walking through the main square. And I had absolutely no idea how many strangers were going to come up to talk to us about the restaurants. But I listened because I'm empathetic like that. But like, okay, for the people who know science, like, you know how if you see a hungry piranha and you offer it a little drop of blood to feed it, it doesn't stop being hungry. It just becomes a bunch of piranhas. That's exactly what happened. So we were not getting anywhere, but luckily she had the magic word, Nijenki. And they all disappeared. And I had absolutely no idea what this word meant. But I knew what it did. So I was excited. And like the good American that I am, I was like, all right, this is American football time. I am about to be the Michael Jordan of American football. Michael Jordan does not play American football, but I do not know the name of anyone who does. So I was about to be the Michael Jordan of American football. And I held her hand in my hand like it was said American football. And with my other hand, pew, Nijenki, pew, Nijenki, pew, Nijenki, running past all the defenders. But they had coupons. So I did the old push and pull. And finally, after this amazing world record Guinness Book badass run, we entered the restaurant. And this was the first time I had ever felt like I had just been good at some type of sport. So there I was with my girlfriend and my giant stack of coupons, which I, of course, like a good American football player, had to throw in the air to do the biggest touchdown dance that Krakow had ever seen. They kicked this Jew out so quick, it was like 1938 Berlin. That joke works. But I got better at being in Krakow. Like this past fall, I had 2 friends visiting, and they wanted me to be their tour guide. And I'm like, yeah, friends, I will be your tour guide. And then it was like, yeah, Jason, you have no idea how to be a tour guide. So like my resume right after college, I just made shit up. And so we were walking and I was like, okay, over there, that's where they invented vodka. And over there, that's a guy on a bench drinking vodka. And over here, oh, I am so glad, I am so happy that I get to be the one to take you here, because this site, this is like an internationally recognized pilgrimage site. It's like Catholic Mecca. Because here, you've heard of Catholic Mecca by now. Have you not heard of Catholic Mecca? It's like 2 blocks away. That Bonnie looking nice, that's it, yeah. It's Catholic Mecca, because right here was where Pope John Paul used to go when he was just college student John Paul. It's only like the first quarter of the joke. And this is the very bar stool where he tried his first ever Jaeger bombs. And he loved them so much that he took 1 Jaeger bomb in honor of every apostle. And he still made it home that night. And that was his first miracle. I was not a good tour guide, but we did get drunk. But I would have been a terrible tour guide, though, if I did not mention Pope John Paul at least once, because he is so important to Poland. Like, if you go to a church in Poland, you will still be convinced that he is the Pope. Like, they never put up photos of that German guy, like, that hippie guy. Like, maybe someone posted a few Instagram shots of him in, like, one of the bathrooms, but you will see smiling photos of Johnny Pavel everywhere. And I know this because I have attended church services here in Poland when I was with Anya. I would go with her family to their church in the village sometimes, and I didn't know what to do, but it was okay, because there was at least one other Jew in the room to talk to. And he had time, because, you know, he was just hanging out. Oh, the awkward laugh. It's okay, I'm allowed to make that joke because, like, by comedy rules, Jews can make fun of other Jews. And what's great is how that just made it more awkward for some people, because it's like, what's more offensive, a crucifixion joke or me reminding you that your savior had his dick snipped? True story. It's in the Bible, I bet. Probably, I didn't read it, but like I bet it's there. Look it up, I don't know. Not my book. So he and I were talking and, like, you know, making small talk, and I would be like, hey man, it's kind of cold in here. And he'd be like, I know, I'm naked. And I'd be like, you know, Jesus, it's kind of awkward sometimes here being like the only Jew. And he's like, yeah, try being Middle Eastern also. Which is definitely harder in modern day Poland. So like, I had to give that to him. He was right. Wise man, that Jesus, wise man. For a socialist. But speaking of men who are only hanging out with other men, another, I know, like, Mary came to hang in the clubhouse sometimes, but like mainly it was him and a bunch of dudes who were like in their 30s, still just like walking around and hanging out and not raising families. And you guys still love him in Poland. But like, that's not what you do in Poland. But like, he did it, whatever. Crazy guy. I like how I act like we actually had real conversations. We never had real conversations. That was a fake conversation, I'm sorry. So anyway, guys hanging out with just guys. So another first I had in Poland was my first ever bachelor party. It was not my bachelor party. It was Marcin's bachelor party. And so it was me and Marcin and his friend Marcin and their friend Marcin and 2 guys who were not named Marcin and 2 other Marcins. And the first activity of the night was paintball. I had never done paintball before, but I'm like, all right, I'm the first American these guys have ever met. I'm the first Jew they've ever met. Pretty sure I'm the first vegetarian they've ever met who wasn't a farm animal. So I needed to fucking represent. I'm like, all right, I am going to prove my manliness by shooting these guys with little bowls of bright colored paint right onto our cute little adorable soldier boy costumes. Like a real man. And I was thinking as we were driving to the paintball field, I'm like, all right, expectations, what am I gonna do? All right, I'm American, so I should know how to shoot a gun. I'm vegetarian, so I shouldn't know how to shoot a gun. But I'm also Jewish, so when the guns come, I should be fucking running. And so, yeah, we're going there. Buckle up, we're like only halfway there even. And so we get to the field, and I'm like, all right, I figured it out. Strategy. I'm not gonna get the first kill or the second kill, but I also won't die first or even second. So as soon as the game is ready to begin, as soon as the battle is ready to begin, I run all the way up to the watchtower, and I am like, all right, I am going to prove myself. This is going to be the time where I get my glory. And I was standing there with my rifle by a hole, peering out through this little glory hole, watching the glory hole joke, slipped in the glory hole. And so I'm standing there by the hole in the watchtower. Get over yourself. By the hole in the watchtower, thinking, all right, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna get some shots. And I hear pew, the first shot, pew, the second shot, pew, the third, pew, 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 and then a whistle because the match was over. Because I had spent the entire paintball match not really proving myself as a man, but just kind of sitting there, not actually doing anything, playing with the glory hole. And you could say, you really like glory holes. And you could say that, like, I did not prove myself and I lost because I just sat there. And you would be right if you were talking about regular paintball rules. But I like to think that we were playing by 1939 paintball rules, which meant I had won. Because I had successfully hid up in an attic until the entire thing was over. This is a 3-part joke. While all the Poles were running around in the streets with crappy weapons getting shot. But I had double won because I'm also an American. So even though I just spent the pretty much entire war just sitting there, when the time came for our victory, I could still get credit. I earned a beer sip. It was a good time. But that was not the only first of the night. It was also my first time ever going to a strip club. And by first time, I just mean in Krakow. And by strip club, I mean just in this, like, woman's apartment where she went through more awkward costume changes than a Madonna backup dancer. And so I'm there with the Martines and, like, okay. You know how when it comes to jobs, like, sometimes someone is very, very qualified, and sometimes what they lack in qualification, they make up for in enthusiasm? She was very enthusiastic. But, like, no, I don't mean that as an insult. Like, it was really nice to see a woman get to do a job she was kind of unqualified for. Because men get to do that all the fucking time. Trump. Really? The O is for insulting Trump? Like that's the fucking line for you? Where are your morals? Someone agreed with my review. I appreciate you. Anyway, serious business. Back to the stripper night. Yeah, and like her first costume was a police officer uniform. And besides being cliche, I did not think that was very authentic because she had fuzzy handcuffs with her. Like, who are you going to arrest? A Muppet? Not believable, ruining the fantasy. And like she goes through her costumes, and I'm like, all right, third costume, rule of 3. I understand art. This means that the pattern has been finished and it's going to be over. Nope. She comes back into the room with a plastic dildo. Yeah, it just got real quiet. For those of you who do not know what a dildo is, it's basically like a man, but without all of the downsides. And so she's there with her friend, Mr. Triceratops, and she has it in her hand, and then it's in more than just her hand. And this woman must have done fantastic in kindergarten because she really wanted to share her toy. Yeah, it's going where you think it's about to go, which is from hand to hand and into her vagina. And so it's making its round from marching to marching from marching. And then, like, she's coming towards me, and when I had told Anya that I was looking forward to getting to know people tonight, this is not what I had in mind. But she's coming towards me, walking towards me. Give the audience a second. Yeah. So she's making her way towards me, and I remembered the magic word, "Nya janky." And suddenly, all of the sexiness in the room magically disappeared. And yeah, so obviously that was not my most exciting night in my entire life. And I left there feeling a little bit dirty in a way that I don't actually like. There are good dirties. But I left. Yeah, they like good dirty. Thank you for sitting right here. You're perfect. I could not ask for more. So anyway, there are things you can do if you feel unclean, and obviously we are here in Poland. The answer is go to church. And by things you can do, I mean you, not really me, or my friend Adi, or probably not Marek. Love you, Marek. But most of you can just go to church. And church, as we mentioned, is so important here in Poland that like 364 days a year, you're supposed to go to church. But for those of you who do not know, one day a year, church comes to you. That's right, about 2 weeks, for those of you who are not from here and do not know, about 2 weeks after Christmas, the priest who for 364 days a year is convinced that your name is my child comes to your house with a notebook so he can pretend to remember your name. And again, I was living with Anya and her family in a village outside of Krakow, and like no one in that village liked the priest. The past one, yes, but not that guy. And so, like, suddenly, the day of the big priest day, like, everyone in the whole village suddenly becomes, like, military special ops experts. and they're like calling each other over the phone saying, the judgmental penguin has moved to the Rogowski house. I repeat, judgmental penguin, Rogowski house. Stay vigilant. And the house was like already, like there was Jesus everywhere, like it was just on sale at Pepco. Jesus, 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 Jesus. And eventually, the priest entered, and like within half of these stories, I had no idea what to expect. But the priest comes in, and the first thing he does is like take Jesus by the waist, and hold him up, and like suddenly, dun dun, everyone else in the room like lines up in front of me, dun dun. And like 1980s horror movie music is playing in the back of my subconscious, dun dun. The person in the front gives Jesus a little sugar on the cheeks, dun dun. So does the next person, dun dun. And suddenly there is like only one person between me and Jesus and his babysitter. And then dun 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 dun. She kisses Jesus, and then the priest is just like walking up to me holding his little savior action figure, and he's about to hold it to my face, and I just say, "Nya janky!" And shortly after was the moment where I realized that I respond to a priest with a cross the exact same way I respond to a stripper with a dildo. Dziękuję bardzo. And also, even though it was just me on stage for the set, like this comes out of community. Thank you to everyone in the Krakow stand-up community. Being around you has made me better at this shit. Especially Adi, Dory, and Marek. Thank you very much.